Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. I'm your host, Marie LaBrosse, and you're listening on WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio, coming out of Northport, Florida. And you're listening on the Bishop West Real Estate Tower. So thank you all for coming on and listening with us today. And again, this is a continuation of our history of the city of Northport with Joan Morgan as my co-host. I'm bringing her up on screen right now. And Joan, do you know what show this is for us?
14?
Yeah.
Yay! All right, I got my question right.
For our audience, the city of Northport was actually formed when, Joan?
Well, the official date is 1959.
Okay. What's the unofficial date?
Well, you can go back to the Indians and things like that. Right. I mean, I don't know when the first man stepped foot in Northport or...
Thousands and thousands of years ago, because they have found actual human remains, haven't they?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Yes. Yeah. Warm Mineral Springs has it. Maybe Ponce made it there first. I don't know.
Yeah, Ponce did go there, and so did DeSoto. Yeah. DeSoto actually landed by El Jabin and went up the inner coast. Can you imagine? And I know I'm getting off topic, but hey, it's my show.
We've never done that before.
No, never. but that's one of the things too. The history. Yes, we're talking about the history of the city of Northport, but people have to realize some of the oldest remains of the humans are found right there in Northport, Warm Mineral Springs, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. There was actually, there's a fireplace, which is pictured in Marshall Grove's book, which was made out of human skulls and animal skulls and things like that from who knows when. I mean, it goes way back. We're historic. And that's why Warm Mineral Springs has to be always mentioned. It's the only thing that goes out to the world.
It's historical, and
that's
for one of the things we learn from our history. And part of the thing is, I could just kind of go like this to people. If you study history and you study the fall of different democracy or civilizations, there's repetitiveness that happens again because we forget. We forget because generations go by and the memories aren't there. So you kind of make the same mistakes that were made in the past. Well, we're in a technological world right now. But who's to say that it wasn't there many, thousands of years ago, even before that?
Well, what they invented, I mean, we have added to it, and obviously we have added to it, but my goodness gracious, I mean, who came up with some of these first discoveries of the wheel and just basic things? Or like on Everyone Loves Raymond, when the father said, who invented the lawn?
Absolutely. And I'm a huge, just to tell people out there, I'm a huge Ancient Alien fan. That I watch a lot of that, but I also do a lot of history. I get the History magazine, and I do History Channel is probably one of my most favorite channels.
There's so much to learn, and I think this was a real week of learning. Although I've read the book Roll On and a lot on the obviously 9/11, but you still learn more things. I mean, sad facts, but you learn more facts every single time you watch a different broadcast, a different angle. All of a sudden, a little fact comes out that you never heard of before, and it's important.
It very much is important. So, Joan, we'll probably try to get through the whole up to 2021, but we'll see if we can do that. Okay, so where do we leave off?
Well, we're going to start with Shannon Stobb's library, and actually, today is a day that we need to celebrate because one of Northport's greatest is birthday today, Lorraine Matthews. Yay, Lorraine!
Birthday, Lorraine. In case our audience does not know who Lorraine Matthews is, she moved here pretty much about
1971.
yeah,
They got here a little before we did.
Yeah, right before you. Her and her husband Gene started the first newspaper in Northport.
They started a lot of things, and if it wasn't for Lorraine, okay, behind the great man of Gene, you know, some of this stuff wouldn't have happened because their house wouldn't have been used for every meeting in town and all this stuff. So yes, we do celebrate Lorraine and all that she has done for the community. So anyway, we are starting with Shannon Stobb's library, and actually something that needs to be brought up every time now is the surtax, and that definitely relates to Shannon Stobb's library. Okay, let me just give you the history of the surtax because it's something we need to push for. It was started in 1989. Okay, we pay 7% sales tax. 6 cents goes to the state, and gosh knows what that goes for. 1% is kind of local. All right, now it has to be renewed. Remember, everybody, we are not going to pay one more penny. We're not going to pay anything. Nothing. And 22% of this is paid by those who just come to our city and buy things. So, but what does it equal for Northport? Every 15 years or so, it has to be renewed. And 2022 is that date. Okay. What does it mean for Northport? We are now the largest populated in Sarasota County. $20 million a year times 15 years, $300 million. Now, what does that buy for Northport? It buys needed things. We are going to have to get new police vehicles. We're going to have to get a new dump truck. We're going to have to get more drainage and all that kind of stuff. We are going to have to put a police substation out at Toledo Blade. These things are going to have to happen. So either, you know, we just continue this surtax, which has been going on since 1989, or guess what? We get higher taxes. Okay, so guys, vote for the surtax.
And
okay,
it's only 1 penny. It's only
1 penny, and it's what we've been paying.
You're already paying it. It's nothing new.
There's nothing new, but you know what? You see the word tax, and some people go nuts today on anything. You know that. So anyway, that's why we want to tell you something. And since we're the largest population, Northport has the most to gain. Now, it also, besides doing the essentials, which we'd have to do and we'd have to pay for, it also does some of the positive, the fluff, the things that make us look good, the things that really have added to our community. Okay. And one of those, we're starting off right today, Shannon Stobb Library. Okay. A lot of the funds, not all the funds, but a big chunk of those funds came from the surtax. And that was opened on October 17th, 2017. Shannon Stobb was a city commissioner, not a city commissioner, a county commissioner. And I'd have to say the first time I heard about her was not the most pleasant. You know why? Because she ran against Gene Matthews. Okay. And of course, we were Gene, all total supporters. Okay. But anyway, Shannon and Gene are great friends, and Shannon Stobb has done a lot. And I love the woman, and I'm so glad the library, and she has so many positive followers, and the library is named after her. And I'm very proud of the 23,321 square foot library being named after her. And that's on Toledo Blade on by Interstate I-75. And a lot of community events are held there, and a lot more are going to be. So this is a very definite contribution to our city. And the surtax funds will help continue some of the additional programs and things like that. As I say, the fluff. If we lose the surtax, and guess what? That $20 million a year, guess what? We're going to lose some of the good stuff too.
Well, and it's part of the Suncoast Technical College.
It sure is. And that's important. I mean, that's going to increase. In fact, I'm envisioning 10 years from now, that place is going to look a lot different than it does now. And there's going to be a lot more. If you go up to Sarasota Technical College and all the programs they have up there and everything else, and I hope ours grows into that bigger place. So anyway, a very positive thing. If you haven't been there, get there. I mean, truly, it really is magnificent.
And one thing that you're talking about, that surtax, one of the problems that they have in the city of Northport is the turnout for voting.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's one thing we do have to address. This is a historical show right now, and we're talking about the history of the city of Northport. However, for Northport to grow and for you to have a say in it, you need to get out there and vote. And I think the voting rate is 18%. Am I wrong?
It's so low.
It's
Okay.
so low. And you're a precinct clerk.
Yep.
You know, during voting. And how many are registered right in the precinct that you take care of?
My precinct, 13,000 some. Okay. And let me tell you, we are, this is at the Morgan Center. Okay. It is either the number one largest one in Sarasota County, or it's number two, you know, depending on every year, more people where they moved into, which one's higher or less. But we have been the one at the Morgan Center has been the largest one, and it's been the second largest over to the one over at the Mullen Center. Okay. So, and people get that mixed up on voting day. Morgan Center, Mullen Center, Morgan Center, Mullen Center. And we have to direct them to the right place. But anyway, yes, the voting is so low, and it really is sad. I mean, we should have so many, and it's hard for us to determine the percentage. I can tell you how many voted sometimes in some elections, in the small elections for primaries and that. Sometimes out of 13,000, we've had 300 or 400 voting there. However, you know, you have the early voting, okay? And you also have the mail-in voting. So I can't give you the exact numbers, but I will tell you, and I will tell you one other thing, and believe it, folks, okay? Nothing is more secure than our voting. I mean, I will tell you every single vote, every single piece of paper, and I will tell you, honest to God, at the end of the night when I walk out of there, I don't know who's won an election. And frankly, by that time, I don't care. Okay. All right. But the numbers on the EPB and the number on the tabulator had better match. And that's what we check all day long. And those numbers better match. Not one vote, not one piece of paper can be lost, or else our heads are on the line. So believe me, it is secure. And I know this for a fact. They work so hard. But anyway, yes, please vote. Okay. There is nothing to lose with the surtax. It's what we're doing now. And we can lose $20 million. And remember, 22% of it is paid by, we don't even know who, because they're just people visiting. And we have to say, maybe while they're filling up their gas and that, thank you. But this is Shannon Stobb Library was one of those. The next thing on our list, early 2017, baseball. Atlanta Braves announced that they're going to put a baseball stadium. It's going to be called the Cool Today Park. And that's going to be that's going to cost $4.7 million, and the Sports Foundation provided like $20 million total for this. It is huge. I mean, if you haven't been to the Braves Stadium, get in your car immediately after this broadcast and go, okay? And stop at the Shannon Stobb Library on the way home. I mean, it is phenomenal. It is the future. It is great, and again, unfortunately, COVID, oh my gosh, they had one by the time it was completed, because, you know, where all these constructions, there's delays. All right. Once it was completed, all right, they had one game. They had one game there in that year. And then it was the end of the season. And then guess what? The next season, COVID. Okay. You know, and so now this year, all right, this year it's kind of like all sports stadiums seem to be open, totally open. So we'll see. It's almost like it's the first year, and it's great. And remember, folks, with this and what we're giving you, you need to give us the material, because we're ending up at the end today of 2021. We're going to get there, okay? And the thing is, folks, we have a lot of things going on. And we had the past, I think, nailed pretty tightly, because it becomes actually in cement and we kind of know it better. But the present and the future, there's a lot of information we need. So, you know, please call me, 941-875-8996, or email me, emjm67@yahoo.com, and give me the information. We are not trying to hide it. We want it down. We want this to be accurate. It's a living document. It needs to increase. There is more of a future. The future and the information is multiplying tremendously, and we need to get it down. Okay. So Anyway, the Braves Stadium. And as I say, you have to go see it. We can't describe it to you. You need to go see it, and you will love it, and you will appreciate it. Okay, also in that year, 2017, Jacqueline Moore. Yay, yay, yay. Jacqueline Moore, who was once upon a time one of our mayors, certainly promoted the Aquatic Center, helped us so much setting up Holly's Hope. Well, she set up the kindness community. I mean, we do need kindness, and we do need somebody who thinks as kindly as she does and want to do things for positive good. So the kindness community was set up.
And also, it is now at the Northport Arts Center, and you can go to the Northport Arts Center website, and there is a page there that you can take the pledge for kindness. And just wanted to mention that anybody, just one act of kindness can change somebody's world. It really can. If you're having a bad day out there and somebody pays something forward to you, or just being nice. I was at a restaurant, which is a buffet, a couple of weeks ago, and the lady asked me where I got something, and I had said where it was, but I went up and I actually got it for her and brought it to her, and that was an act of kindness. But that is something simple like that. But she was so grateful, and before her husband and her left, she came over to our table and thanked me again.
You know what? I mean, we need to, especially in today's world. I am so tired of everybody being wanting to be on each other's throat, and families, mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine. I just want it over with, and I want people to be able to hug each other, and I want people to talk to each other and people to do things nicely. I'm so sick of hearing, I can't go to Thanksgiving with my sister. I can't do this. I can't do that. I won't go to their house. And families almost being in a war over some of this stuff. Democrat, Republican, all this kind of stuff. My goodness gracious, we've had political parties for hundreds of years. Let's get kind. Let's get along.
Let's be kind. And the Civil War was actually based on difference of opinions, but as long as you're saying that, I'll bring it up. I'll bring me up on the screen better. So, you know what? I have skylights here, guys.
All right. Okay. I love it.
This is Giving Tuesday is November 30th this year. And here at the radio station, we'll be live on streaming and also on the air from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. And it's all about kindness and giving and throughout the community, your nonprofits, whoever. But that's a day that we collaborate. We thank people out there, and also for communities to come together one day a year to just say thank you. Pick a project. If you want to do something, that's fine, but whatever you want it to be. So back to that's my little plug there. Joan.
Hey, you know what? We need to do it, okay? And also, Holly's Hope has been very beneficial to some of those. Michael Saunders has been wonderful. The Northport Leadership 2021 just gave him a donation to Holly's Hope, and we're trying to help the one-liners. Actually, Ed and I spent time this week at My Warriors Place, which is up in Ruskin. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful retreat where they can just maybe open up and be themselves, and we're going to try to promote that. So yeah, and there's so many kindness acts, and there's so many things that need to be done. And Marie, you're the one that does a lot of it, girl. So thank you, and everybody. Hey, we're not alone in this world. We're here together, and we truly need to stay together because, you talked about the Civil War. Well, let's talk about a quote from Lincoln saying that if anything happens to our nation, I don't have it exactly, we're going to destroy ourselves. It's going to be internalized. And let me tell you something, some of the headlines and some of the stuff, it just makes you sick. And I'm go back to him and go back to Thomas Jefferson, who said, and this isn't an exact quote, I don't like what you said, but I'll defend with my life your right to say it. And that's truly put those two together, baby. And, those are words to live by. So, anyway, the kindness community, and we're very grateful for it, and very grateful for Jacqueline Moore and her husband, who helps with a lot of things too. Got to meet him, first of all, doing the Paddle Palooza, which was probably one of the most interesting programs I was on ever. It was just fun.
I was just talking to somebody about that, seeing as it's a conversation with us right now anyhow. And somebody that I was talking to would like to see that brought back. So.
I would love to see it brought back every year, because I could not believe Benderson and what they could do, and how they got rid of the chili peppers and all that in 1 week. You know, they brought in the Army Corps of Engineering, and I told them it would take years, because this is how we do things around here. And they just had everything out of there in a week, and we need them back because they're starting to grow up again. You know, they did so much, and it was so much fun. You know, it's kind of nice when a community can just have a fun day together. So anyway, that's that. Okay, going on. We're going to make it through today, Marie. Okay. Todd Garrison, who became our new police chief in that year. Kevin Vespa retired. Michael Morales was the interim chief. Michael Morales, and of course the Morales family has done a lot for this community too, that's for sure, and they continue to do. Kevin Vespia, everyone knew for a long time, and now Todd Garrison has been there for a few years, and hopefully will be there for a lot longer. So that all was 2017. And on September 13th, 2017, okay, we were supposed to get hit with Hurricane Irma. That was supposed to be a direct hit. Luckily, we escaped it again. Northport's been cross your fingers, been very lucky in not getting the really direct hits. Yes, we had some problems. Yes, we had some power outages. Yes, we lost a few, probably roofs and trees and things like that. But can you imagine what it could have been? So that was on September 13th, 2017.
And I left town for that. That's the only time I ever evacuated, and I left town for that. And we couldn't even get a room till Biloxi, Mississippi. And
wow.
All the rooms were filled. It was a mass exodus from Florida because it was covering the whole state. They had the cone coming in on the whole state, and it was supposed to hit us as a 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And guess what? There's another fact for that, but doesn't mean anything historically. That would have been my mother's 100th birthday. She was born on September 13th, 1917. And let me tell you something, she would have loved the fuss over her name. But she would never go for a storm that would hurt any doggy or kitty or property damage. She would not like that.
Was your mother's name Irma?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. My mother's name was Irma.
And it was on her birthday.
100th birthday.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's coincidental. Hey, that's a historical fact.
Yeah. I mean, that's funny. She would have loved it. She did not live that long. But on the other hand, that was that would have been her 100th birthday. And we all said, oh my God, this is Irma. She was quite a powerful force in herself.
Before we go on, I had a question from Pat Petersmark, that's at the radio station. We talked about this before, but I promised her I'd bring it up right now. She wanted to know who Sam Shapos was.
Sam Shapos was a man, in fact, the clothes closet and everything else, we can thank Sam Shapos for. He was a big member of Kiwanis. He's probably passed on about 25 years ago. Sam Shapos Way is named after him, which is in front of the old YMCA there, and the clothes closet and the art center. Okay. Sam Shapos was wonderful. Sam Shapos was one of those men behind the scenes. He wasn't a commissioner. He wasn't in charge of, the Chamber of Commerce or anything like that. But let me tell you something. If you had a picnic, if you had anything going on there in the 80s and that, and 70s and 80s, guess what? You would have Andy Burney, Sam Shapos, and a few others there. Bill Butler, our mayor. I mean, they're all good buddies, and they would be out there cooking those hamburgers, not standing in front of the mic wanting everyone to say hi to them. But he was always a man behind the scenes, and a great As far as I'm concerned, he is one of the ones, when we talk about the volunteers, when we talk about who made Northport great, put Sam Shapo's name right there on the list.
What did he do for a living? Do you know?
Volunteered.
Volunteered. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know, because by the time in the 70s and 80s, Sam Shapos was in his 70s and 80s. Okay, he was an older gentleman, and
so you knew him in the volunteer role.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, there's a few quotes that we can't put on this air that I can remember that Sam Shapos, between his first wife who died, and he eventually married another woman who had a disabled child, and he certainly helped them out. But some of the quotes and some of the insight that his wife had over their daughters growing up, that he was kind of like the naive daddy. There's some funny ones. But that's not for the air. But let me just tell you something. He had a great sense of humor. He was a great guy, and big time into Kiwanis and those groups, and always willing to volunteer, was always out there first. And, yep, great guy.
Well, thank you so much. That one was for you, Pat. Okay, 2018 we're into now.
Okay, we just got a new police chief, so let's go with a new fire chief, okay? Okay, 2018, William Taft, who was there for a long time, and we all loved him, and we saw him not too long ago, and that he is around. He was fire chief since 2003. Well, he retired, and Scott Titus became our fire chief in March of 2018. Taft was one of these guys. He was the fire chief, but like so many, you saw him there on the other occasions. You saw him on the 4th of July, the 4th of July races. You would see him and his daughter, and that running in the races. You'd see him on Halloween night, doing things at City Hall and that, and just a great guy. And we're very, very fortunate, because our fire department is one of the best there is, period. I mean, it's gotten all sorts of awards, okay? And he was one of the ones promoting it in that. And now, of course, Scott Titus and others. So anyway, that's the way it is. Okay, so anyway, the other thing we have is was with evaluating the canals and everything else. We have 95 miles of canals. We have more canals in Northport than Venice, Italy has in Venice, Italy. Of course, we're a larger area, but on the other hand, we have 95 miles of canals. And when people think of Northport, they don't think of 95 miles of canals. So anyway, we do have, and basically we have a lot more kayaking groups and that now, and that's going to continue in the future. Let me tell you something, that's just going to grow and grow and grow. Okay. The other thing we had, and this is, and it started in 2018, the West Villages, now called Welland Park, a marketplace started with the Publix opening late in 2019. It seems like it's been there for a long time now, but that was just the start. And Welland Park and everything, when you talk about the future, when we continue on this, let me tell you something, you're going to see a lot of stuff on this list about Welland Park and what they're doing, because there's a lot of people that are going to promote that. I mean, it's kind of like our Lakewood Ranch. It's kind of like our celebration for Disney Celebration. I mean, they just had the other day the groundbreaking for a downtown. I mean, how many people put in downtowns now? But they are. So we're going to see a lot more about that. And again, some of this stuff, when we talk about the surtax, some of this might be in there somewhere. And of course, there's going to be fights between Northport and Welland Park people about, are we still in Northport jurisdiction? Or are we not? Obviously, we're fighting for them to still remain part of Northport. They need our water. They need our services. And, they are part of us. But that's something for the courts and everything else to decide. Okay. Also in 2018, we had the teen court, which I believe we actually talked about the other day, that actually officially started in City Hall. Thank you, commissioners, for really keeping that going because we need it so badly. And I think we talked last week about how much it means. So let's not get back into that again. All right, 2019, Cranberry is going to open a 5K race. Again, the schools are trying to support themselves. Okay, Lamarck had it for many years. And then you had now Cranberry and, of course, Northport High School. Fu, the coach of the Northport track and cross country. Oh, what a wonderful guy. You talk about putting yourself out and doing things for the kids. He's magnificent. And this Saturday is going to be the Northport Invitational again. And there'll probably be 1,500 or so or more runners there. I don't know how many schools. Last year, there was 70 some schools there. And it's the biggest in the state. I mean, we're not talking a little sucker here. We're talking huge. We're talking a really unbelievable. Okay, 2019.
Hold on a sec. Can we go back to 2018? You missed an important thing that was given in
what's that?
The Boundless Adventure Playground.
Oh, where? Oh my gosh! I didn't put. I waited. Hold on. I'm going. I have so many lists. Oh my gosh! That is another thing. All right. Yes, absolutely. Boundless playgrounds. Oh. That is over by the Garden of the Five Senses. Another thing, surtax helped create that. And what it's for, we've been we have gotten the acknowledgement for being Play City of the U.S. and all this kind of stuff for years. I don't think they do this in the last couple of years, but we had it for like more years than anybody. And the Boundless Playground is definitely very, very important because what it has. It's a playground for everybody, okay? But it also has a lot of things for kids with disabilities, okay? You can take your wheelchair and you can just hook it up and it becomes a swing, okay? They have things for all of the, when they talk about the five senses, okay, Boundless Playground plays to the five senses. So they can get sense of touch and feeling and smell and that with some of the vegetation around. So they want to make sure that they give the sensory perception to kids there. It's great. Go to the Garden of the Five Senses on Pan Am, go in the parking lot, park your car, and then just walk around into the back and go to the that, and you'll be amazed. People need to see these things. People need to see what their surtax money and their city's done for them instead of complaining about everything, okay? They need to go and see maybe the positives. And part of the surtax thing, going back to that, what they want you to do right now is they want you to give what your ideas are for the surtax. Because basically part of this is what projects, when we get the money, what projects are we going to use them on? We want your input, okay? So here's another one, folks. Expand the Boundless playground for future use and more equipment and things like that. Because as you know, for people with disabilities and that, the kind of equipment they have is two things. Number one, very expensive, okay? And number two, as time goes on and we increase our technology and our abilities and all this kind of stuff, new equipment is going to come out, which is going to be really important and good for them. So we can't just leave that park go and say, hey, we've done that and move on. Okay, we need to keep going back and doing that. Okay, so that is that's very important. And I'm sorry, I've got so many lists here now because you can't print this. It's so big, you can't print it out all the time, you know. Okay, so we did Cool Park. Okay, now we're going to be down to another thing, and this is very, very important, guys. The Northport Aquatic Pool. Yay! All right, let me tell you something. For all of you naysayers that said this wouldn't work and everything else, let me tell you something. They made over, first of all, just like the Brave Stadium, they got it built. It was the beginning of winter when it's not going to be open all the time, and then it's closed. And then guess what, folks? COVID came. All right. So last year, which should have been a year ago, which should have been unbelievable. This is it. Here it is. Unfortunately, we had closures. We had limitation as far as the numbers. We had to close it to clean all the time and all of this kind of stuff, which obviously for health purposes, we're going to do everything we can to keep people safe. But on the other hand, it wasn't fair to judge our aquatic center. The aquatic center, surtax, helped. Now, if you say, oh, we shouldn't have paid that money for it, go over and see it. Go see it. Go be there and then say that. And you will change your mind. Okay? First of all, the costs that we're charging you to go in there are phenomenal. They're lower than any other place. As I say, it costs me as a senior citizen $110 a year, and I can go into that pool every single day. The pool part's open, not all the amenities. All right. When we took our 5 grandchildren down to Fort Myers, okay, for one day for their activity thing, we spent over $550 for the one day. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Their snack bar there has made a number of money. They have 3 slides, the Barracuda Blast, which I've done, and it is fun, but I don't have to keep on doing it. We have a lazy river, which is a lot of fun. And then they have extra classes. For example, one of them is you're walking at night with the stream, with the pressure of the walking in instead of floating on a tube, walking in the lazy river, then walking backwards in the lazy river, okay, with all the water pressure. It really is a different experience, and it's a great exercise. They have yoga mats for in the water. They have water aerobics. They have all sorts of swimming lessons, water polo. Oh my gosh, water polo is so fun to watch. I wish I was young, and that is so strenuous. Okay, that really is. One of our grandson was in that in Orlando. And I mean, I'll tell you what, after he got out of that, got him in the car, he was asleep before we were out the driveway. I thought it's so strenuous, but what a great program. And we have that going on in the summer, and that the teams seems like they're there every single morning. We have our first swim meets, which is going to be going with the Northport swim team and that happening. We have things for Christmas time. We have all sorts of things. We had project graduation there for the first time this year. And it was so much fun because those kids had fun together. Yes, we were still under all sorts of COVID restrictions and that, but we could do it, and we spread it out, and we did it in a way where it could be safe. And what's more fun for those kids, we had all sorts of prizes for them. The people that are running that center are phenomenal. Okay. We have got a phenomenal group of people that care and running the center. And we made $700 and some thousand, which they said we wouldn't make. We have surpassed all the percentages that we thought that we would not get to. They claimed we would not get that high. They would claim it was going to be such a money waster. Yeah, you're going to spend some money on it. And you know what? Parks don't make money. Okay? Recreation doesn't make money. All right? That's why we have taxes. That's why we have them. It's a quality of life. It is a quality of life, and it's a quality of life we need. Especially during trying times in that, we need things like the Northport Aquatic Center. And I'll tell you what, I'm very appreciative. The fight for that center started in 1978. Okay? In 1978, while I was a commissioner, I had a bid signed, sealed by the commission to build a new pool. Okay? Then Andy Burney left the commission, and I could not get allocation of funds, and it remained as a 2-2. All right? And so on and so forth. In 2010, we had a vote 5-0 to build the 50-meter pool. Then that was taken back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for 42 years. My children were 7 and 8 when I started the fight. My grandchildren were almost out of school when the pool was built. Took a long time. So anyway, Northport Aquatic Center, yay, yay, yay. Surplus tax, surtax to continue the programmage. Okay, we need it. Go over there. Don't sit here and say it's not a great place and that. Go over there. Seeing's believing. Okay, Farmers Market. Farmers Market's been a lot of places. Okay, it's been on 41. It's been at the high school. It's been at Lowe's. It's been at Cool Today Park. Okay, so but it's a good thing. All right, and it's been over by City Hall in City Center. So anyway, that's an important thing. In 2019, the average age for anyone in Northport was 46. Okay, and we became the largest city and the largest landmass. For Ed and I, we never made the cutoff. When we came here in 72, we were in our late 20s, and the average age was 65. And guess what, folks? So we were the ones that they were going, are they here? Okay. And now we're the oldies, and now the median age is 46. So anyway, Northport is a young, growing community. That's why I've said over and over, we are not made in cement. Achieve anything. And that's what Northport's about. You can still make it yours. And it's not because you have $1 billion. It's because you have an idea and a passion and you care. Okay. And you can still make it happen because that's what Northport's about. Okay. On September 2019, War Middle Springs was put on the National Historic Record. Okay. And War Middle Springs, talk about surtax. Okay. War Middle Springs is going to be a huge part of it. If you haven't been to War Middle Springs, get there. All right, because most Europeans have. I think there's more Europeans there than Northport people there. But you got to remember one thing, folks. Outside of our area of Sarasota, outside of Florida, outside of the United States, there's only one thing that many people know us by, and that's warm mineral springs. So it has to be appreciated, and it has to be celebrated. Okay, we had a child opera prodigy, Iman Beisha, and she even made America Got Talent, and that brought us all together for a while. That was kind of cool, man. She was great. Oh my gosh, wasn't she amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Beisha. Yeah,
she was phenomenal, and I can remember her being at Cool Day Park and on the big screen and all, and it was just like, yay, Northport. They actually mentioned our names, Northport, Florida. Okay. Northport Chamber of Commerce has a lot of people to thank for a lot of things. And one thing into the current world, obviously, is the Northport Chamber of Commerce. And they have done a lot. And, we're very grateful to all they've done. Also, we have the soccer teams in Northport growing more and more and more and more. We have football, baseball. All our athletic teams are growing as our city is. One thing that's not on this list, and I'm kind of sad, is Horizon Gymnastics, because it's now located just outside of Northport. It's in Port Charlotte. But let me tell you something. They have trained a lot of kids in Northport. I remember Sandy Britton was in the Junior Olympics once and everything because of it. They've done a lot, but all their roots were in Northport. Okay. For decades before they could afford to build the building. They were at the old YMCA hall before it became the YMCA, when it was just called the Northport Recreation Area. They would go almost any place. They almost go in your living room to put on a display and show some people doing tumbling. So, but they're not going to be on our list. Anyway, we also had another thing, an important 2020, Hampton Inn in Northport. For so many years, we talked about getting our own big hotel in Northport. So we have it right now behind over by Lowe's. All right. And that's going to be an important thing, because what did I tell you? This Saturday, the Northport Invitational, a lot of these teams stay overnight. We bring them in from all over, even from other states, for this Invitational. And guess what? It's nice to have an inn in town, because a lot of them in the past have gone to Venice or to Port Charlotte. So anyway, that's it, folks. We need your input. Not everybody who should be on this list is on this list, because we need the information. We beg you, call me 941-875-8996. Email me emjm67@yahoo.com. But please leave a message on the phone. If not, I'll assume you're trying to sell me insurance or that my car insurance is not up to date or whatever. Okay, so please leave a message. We made it through, Marie. You're not coming through. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I muted myself. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to, we missed a few things.
Okay, go back. Tell me.
Okay, we'll go back, but right at the end and name the past presidents if we have time. In 2020, the West Villages was renamed to Wellham Park. And you know what, Joan? I didn't realize that. I keep on calling West Villages and then Wellham Park, but they're now renamed as Wellham Park.
Right.
COVID-19 pandemic closed the schools and businesses in Northport around the USA in March of 2020. And Vanessa Carazona on November 14th, 2020, was awarded Northport's highest honor, the Key to the City, due to the city charter limitations. Now she could only serve 2 years and will remain as the longest serving city commissioner. She was elected in 2002, 2006, and then 2016.
Thank you for bringing those up, because you know what? The list that I'm going from here, because I've printed this out a dozen times, but every time you change it, you can print it out again. And I don't have those on my list, but I know they're on there, and I'm going to have to look up and see why they're not on this new list that I'm going from. So, yeah, and I'll tell you what, Vanessa is another one. If it wasn't for her, she was one of the main starters of Holly's Hope. She's one of the main starters of a lot of things. If you don't know Vanessa, Vanessa tells it like it is. She was a huge supporter of getting the activity center in Northport, a huge supporter of the pool, a huge supporter of anything youth, definitely into foster programming and wanting a better program for foster care kids. I mean, she will take on any task. In the alternative Halloween program we had last year, because we didn't have it at City Hall, you know, Vanessa was up there right after back surgery, climbing up trees and putting things up and everything else. She was a force to be reckoned with, and she totally cares about Northport. I don't have the list because I don't have that last one out, and I'm going to have to go back and find it, because I thought this list had everything on of the past presidents.
Yeah, I'll say them.
Okay.
I'll say them. Juanita Mcguire,
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
She was phenomenal. She was great. She was wonderful, and one of those that really pushed things through Northport. The scoreboard up at Dallas White Park. Let me just tell you a story about her. When we had the Dallas White Park, we had no bleachers, we had no nothing. And I went to Joe Jenkins of Northport Bank, and I said, you know what? We have no bleachers. I'm going to come to you and tell you how we're going to have car washes, and if you'll support us with money and all this stuff. And then I said, and then I had a dream that maybe you just gave them to us, okay? And he gave us the first set of bleachers. And then the next year I went back to Joe Jenkins and I said, are you crazy? 2 teams on 1 set of bleachers? They're going to argue. We need 2 sets of bleachers. And the bleachers during the week have no one to talk to. Then I went to Mcguire, okay, who I loved her. She was wonderful. And I said, Anita, how can you have those bleachers from Joe Jenkins and nothing from United First Federal, because that's what she was the head of then? And she gave the scoreboard, which was wood and has broken apart. But, you know, there again, I believe she was the mother of 8 children and just oozed love for Northport. Okay, you go on with your list.
Okay, Ron Monk.
Didn't know him that well.
Okay, was he the banker? Was he Debbie Monk's husband? The same one? Because he was actually the...
I really don't know him.
I'll have to research it. Okay, Deborah Murphy.
Didn't know her that well.
Okay, Sue Warfark. I've been killing their names. I'm from Minnesota originally, so I talk Minnesotan. Ted Baxto.
Yeah, no, I didn't know these that well.
Okay, Joe Cardinelli. Cardinelli.
Cardinelli. Yeah, I knew him. Yes, he's a good guy.
Okay.
They're all good guys.
Ted Johnson. No. Okay. Cord Melter.
Cord Meller was if Cord Meller's been around, he's done a lot. He actually became a commissioner at 27, but it's kind of not. He wasn't. This is one of these technical things between who was the youngest president. The youngest elected president was Jack Kennedy. The youngest president was Teddy Roosevelt. Well, here's the same thing. Cord Meller was not elected as a commissioner because he was the only one running. So he just kind of like assumed his post, and he was a lawyer. So we're glad to have him on there. But the youngest elected, okay, the three of us were 34, and that was Vanessa, and that was Dave Garofalo and me. But we're elected at 34, so we're the youngest after that. But Cord was the youngest to serve as a commissioner, non-elected, but serving as a commissioner.
Okay, Peter Van Buskirk.
Yeah, Van Buskirk. Yep, knew him. Don't know a lot about what he did as chamber head, but I'm sure he did a lot.
Douglas Grissinger.
Didn't know him.
James Bertie.
Nope.
Jack Cooper. We'll just go down, and if you know the person, just mention it. Ted Lemek. Okay, this next one you're going to have a lot to say about. John Zagreb. I can't say.
John Zagner-Belny. Okay, yeah. What can I say? We've talked about him in the past. Yeah. You know, he's right up there as our heroes of Northport. Okay, we will put him up there with the Sam Shapos that we talked about today. Of course, with the Gene Matthews, with the Bud Cortez and those that you name it, they gave it. You know, if they had it, they gave it.
Rose Rex.
Didn't know her.
Mark Madison, yeah. Steve Sacker, Jim Woods, Jack Donahue, Kevin Russell, and we both know. I don't know. Kevin Russell's a good guy. He actually did the Homeless Coalition in the Charlotte County. Rochelle Taylor Harris, Chris Bilodeau. I'm having trouble reading this. Gene Piggott, James Bresky, Mimi Steiger. I know a lot of these.
Oh, people. Yeah, she's great. There's another one. Great.
Yeah, Bill Burdell, and he's with Achivia. He used to be at Calusa, and they changed to Achivia. Jennifer Bird, I know her very well. Kim Quigley, Adam Bartolotta, great.
Oh, yeah.
Guy. Jill Lutz, she's right now the mayor of the city of
Northport. And everywhere.
And she is everywhere.
I'll tell you what, I'd love to see her closet. Can you imagine what she has, what kind of clothing she has for all the different places she's at? It must be magnificent.
The event that we're having for January 15th for the Northport Arts Center, we're bringing all the arts together and doing showcasing what Northport has for the arts within the community. Jill, I said, Jill, what are you going to be wearing? It's dress in your favorite character or come as you are. She said, oh, I'm going to come as Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz.
All right, Jill.
So
she really, I mean, her closet must be just a treasure hunt.
I wonder if she uses storage. I'll tell you, because she does have a lot of costumes.
Unbelievable.
Lance Broad, and Lance is such a great guy. He now is part owner of the Venice Print Shop, but he did so much for I think he's the one that originally brought their golf tournament to fruition. Mike Williams, he owns I'm trying to think of his company, Linda Zick and Matt Dill. And then right now, who's the president right now?
Gunnan. Bill Gunnan.
No, Bill Gunnan is the executive.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Past president. And I'm seeing, David Roth. Roth is, and they just elected a new one that'll be coming in or just came in. Actually, I think it's this week.
Well, the thing is, there's so many because, every year they change to a different one. Okay. And so it's not unusual that I wouldn't know them. I was a member of the chamber and all when I was, when we had the Northport Learning Center and daycare. But yeah, they do a great deal and so proud of them. And hey, it's a time of the future. They're going to have their own place. They're going to, building funds and all. And we've got to thank Fred Tower and his wife Lydia. I'm understanding they're part of that. So there's a lot of heroes out here, folks.
There really is, and they are going to have their own building, and it's going to be by the family table. With that said, Joan, we're actually over time. We're
How unusual.
How unusual, but we did make it through 2020. And for any of you out there that are interested in the history of the city of Northport, you can always go back and view these shows on Facebook. Some of them are they're not in StreamYard, they're in old session, but eventually you'll be able to have them. Right, Joan? They'll be up someplace. And you can look for them on YouTube also. This is Marie LaBrosse, your show host of Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. You're listening to WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio out of Northport, Florida. My guest today and co-host was Joan Morgan. Yes, a very wonderful lady. And we were discussing the history of the city of Northport, the timeline, and luckily we got through 2017 through 2020, and we're still living in 2021. So we'll end up adding to this list. And if you have any history that you would like to share, just reach out to Joan Morgan, and I'm putting her information up on the screen. Joan Morgan, 941-875-8996. You can email her at emjm67@yahoo.com. And with that phone number, you can receive text too, correct?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 941-875-8996. And as Joan and I discussed today, there are things that you can make choices in life. One of them is to be kind. Please just take time out of your day, one time, even if you're going to the mailbox to get your mail and you see a neighbor there, just say hi. You never know who that may change their life, just that simple act of kindness. Thank you all, and see you again next week on Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. Bye-bye.